Hello, people. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk. I've got Tom with me here today. Hopefully, Spencer will join us very soon. How are you, Tom?
I am doing exceedingly well. Thank you for asking, Nathan, and I hope you are too over there in England.
I'm good, mate. Yeah. I'm getting a bit fed up of hearing about COVID in Iraq and Afghanistan and all that lot. So we'll crack on.
Yeah, let's talk about boxing then.
Right. UGAS causes an upset against an old past it Pacquiao.
I wouldn't call it an upset. I would say that it was everyone was aware this could have gone one way or another. It was kind of like a pick 'em fight, but as it turned out, Manny just couldn't get out of the way. When he talks about his legs, I mean, it's not just an age thing. You know, the saying is first thing to go is their legs. That's a neurological thing from getting hit in the head as well. Your reflexes don't respond the same.
Yeah.
And he's had a long run. And if Manny can't use his legs, he can't get out of the way of punches, which we saw.
Still a Hall of Fame career, but today he's been talking about a rematch. I'm like, really? Are you really thinking of it?
You know, some fighters, it's hard for them to stop. Don't forget, he has a huge entourage. He bleeds money. This guy, if he keeps going, he's going to wind up with, severe brain damage at some point, or he may even get killed in the ring. He needs to retire. And what does he have to prove? He won titles in 8 divisions.
There's nothing left to prove.
No. No. And if he wants to really run for president, he's going to have to concentrate on that because Durate's a pretty dangerous guy.
Yeah.
And he's already called him out and called him a little shit and been critical of him because Pacquiao said he was corrupt. What?
Pacquiao will end up dead if he's not careful.
Yeah, I mean, it's known that people get killed in the Philippines in politics.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I don't think he should continue. I think the writing is on the wall. He just needs to read it and whatnot. I found it interesting that he was allowing a video of his wife to feed him with his swollen eyes shut. Well, I think he wants sympathy in his country, that'll help him get reelected.
Oh, dear. He should just forget.
What did you think of Ugas?
He looked all right. He didn't look any different to what he normally looks. Ugas is good. He's a very good fighter, but he's not exceptional, is he?
I would say he's a top 5 competitor at this point. He's a solid welterweight. He has good fundamental skills, good boxer, good jab, and he fought the perfect fight. But Manny cooperated.
If you look at him, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. The guy is Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. would have knocked Pacquiao's head off if they'd fought. He completely destroyed it.
A different fight. When you have a late substitute like that and you've been training for another southpaw, that puts you at a disadvantage. But I don't think it would have been any different with his movement because that's how he gets out of the way of punches. But the thing is, the guy, in my opinion, that he didn't fight was Bud, and he had that opportunity to do 3 years ago.
You know what? This has done us all a favour because we know now that Spence would have seriously hurt. That's the truth now, the cold hard fact.
Quite possibly, but, I don't think Spence is the biggest puncher in the welterweight division.
No.
He's certainly the strongest welterweight, but I don't think he's the biggest puncher. Hold on, let me turn my phone off here. I have to turn this off. Okay. Sorry about that.
But he breaks you down. Spence breaks you down over the rounds, don't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a dramatic one knockout puncher, but he does punch hard. But his stamina is beautiful.
He's a very good fighter. I respect him.
I do too. I think he's a wonderful fighter, but he seems to be accident prone. Now with the torn retina, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how bad it is. And now you could get a surgery and come back from it, but I think you need about what, 4 months or 6 months to heal. So I don't know, poor guy. The welterweight division will have to go on without him. Maybe some of these guys will start fighting Bud, you know.
Yeah, I think Bud, he's the guy who's left in the cold, isn't he, every time?
Yes, he is, unfortunately. But, you know, he's definitely, I think, the best welterweight. I think he's right now, pound for pound, even above Canelo.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far. I think that's been a little bit too ridiculous. That sounds ridiculous.
Well, why does that sound ridiculous?
Because we don't know how he would get on against Spence. I believe would probably, that would be very close. Be very, very close.
Well, we don't know how Canelo would do if he went up to light heavyweight and he fought Bivol.
Someone with a pulse. Someone who's actually good.
Yeah, you know, the current light heavyweight champion. We don't know how he would do. We don't know how Joe, Joe Smith, how he would handle Joe Smith.
I don't think I think he beats Joe Smith, but only just.
Here's the deal. Bud can do more. Bud is a boxer puncher, and he switches. And he gives you all kinds of fits. And he could take you out. If he catches you, he can take you out like he did with Brook.
Yeah, the problem with Bud is that he doesn't talk much. And when he does, he doesn't say anything exciting. He doesn't know how to sell a fight. He's never known how to sell a fight with Budders. Yeah.
I don't think he needs to. I think that the politics between PBC and Top Rank is what's keeping all of these fighters away from each other.
He should have left Top Rank years ago. I've been saying it for a long time.
Well, under Top Rank, I believe he won, the undisputed super lightweight championship. I mean, there are fights out there. If Tank wants to move up, I don't know if he will.
Before we go to Kell Brook thing, I wanted to talk about a young man who has made me an Ali fan again.
Oh, his grandson.
Nico Ali Walsh. I was so excited to see him because I didn't get to see Ali the first time.
Well,
live fighting colours. So this is my chance to see an Ali fight. It's not the Ali I wanted to see, but it's better than no Ali,
I understand. Well, he looked good against this guy. This guy didn't really offer any opposition. I don't like that term for fighters, but the guy didn't offer any opposition. But the thing is, it's too early to predict how he's going to pan out.
If I was to sit here and say, yeah, he's going to be the greatest middleweight who ever lived, I'd be lying because we don't know. Everything is hyped up in the name Ali.
True. I mean, when Bernard Hopkins, why did he lose his first?
But none of it's really about him, is it? It's meant to be, but it's all about his granddad.
Correct. I mean, Layla Ali proved herself. She did very well. But again, this is early, and Bernard Hopkins lost a bunch of fights. I think, 2 fights when he first started. Nobody would predict he would become as great as he was. In fact, they never thought he would.
But the bad thing for him is he's got such a burden on him that whether he likes it or not, he's stuck with that tag. He has a target on his back. I was impressed with his attitude for such a young man. He had such a good attitude,
Well, yeah, he's obviously been raised well, and he's going to market this. But I mean, what's his name? Bob is going to market this as much as he can. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, look at Joe Frazier's son, Marvis.
Yeah, he had a bit of tongue, but he was a top 30, top 40 fighter, which is still okay. He got a title shot.
But look at what happened. No, I don't think he got a title shot.
Yeah, but he fought against Larry Holmes, but the IBF didn't sanction it.
Right. And didn't he get stopped?
In a round by Larry Holmes, yeah.
Well, Tyson really hurt him bad.
Tyson, yeah, in a round.
He retired after that. That was just foolish. He just didn't have the power.
I mean, he was only 16 years younger than his dad, 15 or 16 years younger than his dad.
Right. But again,
he's about 65 now, Fraser is.
I don't know actually how old he is, but that's a good estimate. Maybe a little younger than that. Maybe a little younger than that. But
But
it's interesting.
he was pro at the same time as his dad, weren't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So what do you want to move on to?
What else to say? He was also wearing his grandfather's shorts.
Well,
which I looked at and I thought, that looks familiar. I thought, wow.
Well, it's easy to be nostalgic with Muhammad. Muhammad was just, the most well-known man in the world during his time.
Oh, definitely.
And I loved him. He stood up against racism and against war, and he didn't care if he didn't fight again. Well, he did care, but he was willing to lose everything. And you got to admire a man like that.
I do, but I just think, like, everybody was shouting Ali in the fight. I got excited. I thought, yeah,
Yeah, I know. Well, it's easy to get emotional about it. Well, let's move on to something else. What do you want to talk about now?
Oh, Brook and Amir Khan may be fighting soon.
Well,
you know what? This fight is so many years removed now. It's like, who cares anymore?
Really, but I think Brook could KO him if he gets to him. Because he's so chinny. And Brook has a lot of power. He could KO him. And I think Brook, he's been more active, right?
Yeah.
And he was very competitive with Bud. I think he was winning the fight until he got caught.
Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah, so you can't count him out. He's got a great pedigree. He's an excellent boxer, and he has power. Unfortunately, he should have never fought Gennady Golovkin.
No, that's what killed his career. That took 3 years off his career. I mean, 3 or 4 years off his career.
Yeah, so I look forward to that fight in the sense that I think he's going to KO Brook.
Both fighters are.
I mean, he's going.
Yeah,
he's going to KO Khan.
But so fighters are both shot. Whoever hits first will land. Whoever hits the hardest first will land and win.
Well, the harder punch.
Whoever lands first on the chin will win. If Khan gets hit on the chin, he'll go. We know Khan has no punches. You know his chin is awful.
Yeah, and he's been out, and Brook has been active, and he did have a good shot against Bud. But here's the deal. Here's the bottom line. What is their beef about? Why is this a beef? Did they have something personal against each other?
Yeah, kind of. Back when Khan was champion in 2009, he said to Kell Brook he'd give him a title shot. And they both appeared on telly in 2011. And and Amir Khan said, when you get a title, I will fight you. So Brook got a title and he thought, yeah, I'll get the fight happen. It never happened. For me, this fight can't be a pay-per-view in England anymore. Two of the guys are so far past it.
Well, talking about changing the subject here, two guys past it. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson are going to fight in December.
Oh, for God's sake.
They're going to do an exhibition together. Did you know that?
No.
Yep. In December, they're doing it.
What's the fight purse going to be?
I don't know. I didn't get all the information. I was just watching a post today, a video with Mike Tyson and 2 other people.
I look at Lennox Lewis. He hasn't looked in shape since he retired.
Right.
What's he going to offer? I mean, he's like 17 years removed. He's got nothing to offer.
Well, Mike is in good shape, and that's going to be interesting.
Lewis isn't. I mean, he's going to have to drag himself back. 6'6" man like him, he's going to have to lose his belly or whatever he's got. But I just don't think it's advisable for him to come back.
Well, it's supposed to be an exhibition, but Tyson said if it goes well, he wants to fight Anthony Joshua for the title.
My God. How can a man who won the world title 35 years ago be demanding a title shot? That's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, 35 years ago.
Well, don't forget, it will make a lot of money if he does, and people will want to see it. So
he wasn't serious about a proper competitive fight with Joshua, was he?
No, he is serious.
No,
he's in good shape.
Yeah, doesn't matter. He's 55. He's shot to pieces. You can't hide that Danny Williams loss. You know, I don't know what to say. What's your real opinion? I want you to be honest about it.
Well, you know, when I look at George Foreman, right, who was an elite heavyweight during the time of great heavyweights, he took off how many years? 18 years?
Yeah.
I forget. It was a lot.
10 years.
Or maybe more. And he came back and he fought his way back into contention and eventually won the title. So it's not unreasonable that could happen. Although Mike, if you look at what he did against Roy, he looked good. He was moving well.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing full power.
No.
But, you know, Mike is one of those guys that if he hits you and gets under your jab and gets inside, I mean, he still has that power. He still has a lot of power.
But his body can't do it anymore. This is what I keep trying to say to people. It's like, you understand where I'm coming? This is not meant as disrespect.
I understand it, and I agree with you. It's very far-fetched that he could actually do this and, you know, get ranked and do this. But if they did it as an 8-round exhibition,
that would be fine. I'd have no problem with it. You know,
but if they make it a real 12-round fight, I don't know if Mike can go 12 rounds. He went 6 rounds last time, right?
He went 8 rounds. I think they should do an exhibition with him and Joshua and do 4 rounds. You know, nothing nasty, nobody has to get hurt, you know?
Yeah. But if he wants one of those belts, you have to be
I have to be honest.
It'd have to be sanctioned.
But is there a possibility that if Tyson was to fight someone like Bermane Stiverne, he could win? You know, I'm being honest.
Stiverne, I don't know. Stiverne didn't look good recently. I mean, there's an article here where Lewis says, yes, if he wants to dance, I can dance. When? December, he said. Has that been announced? Then he says soon. This was back in July, and today Tyson on I'll post it on Main Event, said, yeah, December, we're going to fight.
But Lewis has to look like an athlete. He can't look the way he's looked for the last 15 years. Do you understand? He has to look presentable in some point.
Well, he has a chess belly.
Yeah.
From sitting down playing chess and having tea and scones, you know.
But, you know, I don't like to piss on people's dreams, but when you get to a certain age, you realise you can't do the things you used to be able to do 20 years ago. You can't do the things you did, you know. It's just realism. It's just being realistic, you know.
Right. I agree.
Father time waits for no man. Let's look at Pacquiao. But for me, the moral of this is I would love to see Anthony Joshua against Lennox Lewis in an exhibition. Or possibly.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Yeah, we would. Do you want to talk about the cards coming up this weekend?
Yeah. Have you got the cards in front of you?
Butasti versus Bolognix.
Oh no, that's last week. That's last week.
That's last week. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, because he knocked that guy out. I saw that.
It was vicious.
Oh yeah. Oh, these were from last week. Sorry, but yeah, I posted some of these fights. Now, what do you think about Charlo being arrested?
I read the article. So basically, he didn't really cause any crime, did he? Really, it's a bit over the top.
Yeah, technically they have to charge him or something, and the club didn't want to press charges. But my opinion here is that championship athletes, I know they're single, they want to have fun, they want to get out there, but when you start maybe drinking a little bit and you're around some unscrupulous people, God, I can't pronounce it. Unscrupulous people, you know, you're opening yourself up for shenanigans. I mean, look at all the trouble Tank has had. Look at all the trouble that My favorite fighter, Adrian Broner, has
Oh
had,
God.
and Mike Tyson. They all get in trouble out there. I mean, it's Marvin Hagler was a great example of someone, and Rocky Marciano. They didn't get involved in that stuff.
Can I be honest? And this is going to be a bit derogatory. All these guys come from the hood. They don't know how to handle money. They don't know how to behave. A lot of these guys, they weren't brought up like me and I don't like to be, I hate using that word, the hood, but.
Well, it depends on your maturity level and how focused you are on your goals. And it doesn't matter if you're from the hood or you're from someplace else. I think it has to do with being focused on what it is you're doing and being a role model. I think that has gone to the wayside where some athletes don't consider themselves a role model where they're going to affect, younger people. And that I think is important. I think that's a responsibility that needs to be reinforced in all athletes, that you're under the gun. Young people are watching you and admiring you. When Tyson started going off the rails, he started losing a lot of fans because he was becoming so hostile and crazy. But before that, everyone was embracing him, whether it was an act or not. I mean, he was still, maybe in private being a little wild, and it gets you into trouble. I mean, it got him into trouble in a rape case. And these guys, they just need a good mentor. They need somebody to go, wait a second, don't do that. And they're, I'm going to do, blah, 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 and they think they're bulletproof. They need strong mentoring. Yeah.
I read the story and I just laughed. Right, there's been a story that's happened. The WBA have cleaned up some of their belts. All the fighters have been stripped of their interim fights. So Chris Eubank Jr. has been stripped of his interim belt. He will either face Erislandy Lara for the WBA World, or he'll be the mandatory against Maruta.
I think that's great. I think it's great. I think there's too much confusion. You're either a champion or you're a contender. Not all these contenders could go say the intermediate champion, the regular champion, and then the super champion or the elite champ. It's like we need one champion. It's okay if you want to do champion in recess. Guy gets injured, he can't fight.
Dubai just won his interim title in June. So that means if it got messy, I mean, he will now be looking in line to fight Trevor Bryan or Anthony Joshua. The Anthony Joshua fight will not happen. And the Trevor Bryan fight is the most realistic, but I don't think you'll ever be able to get Trevor Bryan in the ring because of all the litigation that's tied up with Don Kim.
Unfortunately, that's true. But you know what? Again, it's good that we have these organizations. This way, more people can make money. Boxing has become a worldwide sport now. But the problem is with the titling organizations is that have a champion. Make sure you follow the rules, and when somebody reaches number one, he gets a shot. That's the way it always was supposed to be.
The only organization that does it properly is the IBF.
Right.
But I do enjoy taking the piss out of the WBA. I'm not going to lie, it does cheer me up when they mess it.
Well, it's been a joke for us for years. We've talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, the only organization where you can have 3 fights and be a world champion, David Morrell, the Cuban guy. Right. What else did you want to bring up? Because we got quite.
Well, there was a lot of stuff Spencer brought up. I hope he can log in here.
I don't think so. He's coming, mate. I've sent him an invite.
Okay. Well, there's a bunch of stuff here. We talked about the WBA. There's Leo Santa Cruz, who's returning to featherweight, and then he wants to face the winner of the Wood-Conlon match.
Okay.
Which, I mean, all of those matches should be good, no matter who wins, whoever goes up against each other. I think Leo bit off more than he could chew with Tank. I mean, Tank is a wrecking machine.
Yeah, I mean, Leo went at too many weights. He was always good at featherweight. He was brilliant at featherweight.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, and I got to say, he's a really nice guy. I met him once, and he's a family man. He's a nice guy. Now, but Michael Conlon, they put his a title path together here, and that's looking good for him. The WBA has done that, and so he won't be having any interim or any of that other nonsense. But I don't know this guy he's fighting. What do you think of this guy he's fighting, Lee Wood? Because he's 15, he's got 15 law, what is it? 25, 15 and 2? 25 fights, 15 losses, 2 draws. Do you know Lee Wood?
Lee Wood.
Isn't he British?
Yeah, the guy who beat Cannonier.
Right. So I expect him to be tough, but will he be able to deal with Conlon is my question.
No. Conlon is a much better fighter than Lee Wood.
I think I may have seen Wood once, but that's a tough record right there.
To me, I just think Conlon's got more class about him. You know, he's a much better fighter than Lee Wood.
Yeah, Conlon's tough too. He could take a punch.
That amateur pedigree he's got will be the difference.
Right. If he fights the right fight and doesn't go in there to blow him out.
Probably go to points.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. But Conlon should be able to take it. And then Santa Cruz would get the winner, right?
Yeah, I'd pick Santa Cruz to win that.
Because Santa Cruz still holds the title, even though he hasn't fought at featherweight for 2 years.
He's a super champion. But Lee Wood is the regular champ.
Yeah, I hate that, but we'll get rid of that. So then a change of subject, Estrada and Chocolatito are going for 3 now. They're trying to put together a third fight.
We don't need to see a third fight.
Well, I mean, Chocolatito won the first one, Estrada won the second one, and the second one was close.
But there was 7-8 years between those 2 fights, weren't there?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. But I thought it was closer than what the scores were. But yeah, I don't know. I think Chocolatito is getting long in the tooth here.
He's too old. You know, he's definitely shot to what he was, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So who do you favor with Joe Smith Jr. and Umar Salamov?
Joe Smith will be. Salamov is a very rugged European type of fighter. You know, he's very basic, doesn't do anything great. He's a former IBO light heavyweight champion. Sorry, IBO cruiserweight champion.
Isn't he a southpaw?
I believe he is, yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting.
But his record is a little bit odd. He hasn't really beaten anybody. He's beaten a couple of British guys, but that's it.
Yeah, he's 20-something and 1, and he hasn't had the same opposition. But Smith wants Daniel Jacobs. I think Daniel Jacobs could handle Smith.
Yeah, I think Jacobs would beat him, to be honest.
Yeah, but, you know,
Smith is a hard hitter. He's a big hitter.
Right. He's gotten better. He's gotten better, and he's strong, and he's very strong.
When I watch him fight now, his footwork is a lot better. His punch combinations and the way he doesn't gas out like he should have. He'll throw the right punches at the right time, and he'll throw combinations rather than 1-2s. Have you noticed that now?
Right. I think he's improved, like you said. And I think it'll be a good fight for a while. So the latest is Dave Allen came back with the second round stoppage.
Did he come back tonight?
Yeah, he won.
He beat the Italian guy in 2 rounds. Wow.
Second round knockout.
Have you seen the highlights of it?
Not yet, but I could find them.
I'll probably watch it later on tonight. But I forgot he was coming back. Yeah, some of his prospects are on the card. Dave Allen has said he's more realistic this time. You know, he's not going to have these crazy fights he shouldn't have had. You know.
Right. So I'm gonna pull it up here right now, and just the highlights here, and just to look at it real fast. Whoop! Hold on. I hate those commercials when they come in. So let's see what happened here.
I think Dave gets a bit.
Oh, they're not showing the footage. It was just one of those commentaries, you know. Here's the footage. Let's see what happened. Well, anyway, I know you like Dave Allen. He had a lot of promise.
But he's like an English level. He's barely British level, you know. But
Hello.
I do respect him, you know.
Whoa. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Sorry for that dropout. Yeah. He basically, this guy here really couldn't move, and he basically was bombing him with overhand rights and left hooks to the body. So this guy looks like more of a punching bag for him, you know, a good way to come back, hit him a good shot to the liver and then the overhand right, and then just kept smothering him until the guy went down. So Andrea Pesci. I wonder if he's related to Joe Pesci.
He might have links to the mafia to throw the fight.
Nah, he's getting hit really, really hard. Allen is like unloading. Allen's a big man too.
But Allen's only fighting guys now that are like not very good, and he said that's the way he wants to keep it. That sort of level.
Well, that's telling me he doesn't want to get hurt.
Yeah, he's fighting guys. I mean, he would have only got like £2,000 for tonight's fight, whereas before when he was fighting on Eddie Hearn's show, he made like 60 grand for the fight against David Price. For the other fights that he was getting like 90 grand for the fight against what's his name, Lucas Brown.
Right.
But I think what they're going to do is they're going to build him up, get him about 6 or 7 wins over the next year and a half, and then they'll put him in there with somebody good. But he just wants to build a record up a little bit, you know.
So going to build me up, Buttercup.
He's got 2 wins now. His last win was a year ago. So they're slowly building him up with this, you know, this padded opposition.
Right. You know, it said here that when was this? He came in at Spencer came in at 5:30 to ask what time.
I didn't see it until.
Right. Well, hopefully he can come in before this is over. So yeah, so Lewis versus Tyson, that's going to be happening, man.
Hilarious.
So we have Boots Brown coming back against Sam Maxwell.
Who the hell's that?
Well, you know, Ennis Brown.
Oh yeah, the prospect.
Yeah, welterweight. Was it super lightweight or is he a welterweight? I thought he was a welterweight. Hold on a second. Is this the right guy? Do we have more than one? His first name's Akeem? I don't think so. Ennis. Too much of a coincidence.
There was some more cards. I wanted to discuss this card with Tyrone Woodley. That should be up there. I posted that.
Okay, what do you want to talk about there about him? Why don't you go first?
Let me just message Spencer.
I just did as well.
Right.
This is a different guy. This is not Boots. This is a guy out of England, Akeem Ennis Brown.
Yeah.
It's a different guy.
You look at this Tyrone Woodley card, Tyrone Woodley Jake Paul card. Be Jake Paul, then don't forget that card. Jake Paul.
Yes, Jerome Ennis, different guy altogether. That's the guy. That's the up and coming guy. That's another great welterweight right there in the mix.
Yeah.
That would be good if he fought Ugas. That would be a good fight.
Be close.
Yeah, I think Ugas has more experience, but Ennis has a lot going for him.
Yeah.
So Anyway,
pulling this card up, that's so I can see what I'm looking at.
so Tyrone Woodley,
Former UFC champion.
he's fighting Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? I mean, does he have good hands or what?
I don't know much about him. All I know is that he was a champion at UFC. And have you seen UFC fighters box? They can't box, so probably the same as last time.
Well, some of them could hit really hard.
He's
Some
better
of them are very, you know, some of them are very hard hitters. Hey, Spencer. He's connecting.
Audio's disconnected.
Come on, Spencer, come in. Come on. Here he is.
Hello, Spencer.
Spencer. Spencer.
His audio's off. I'm going to try.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me.
The man we've been waiting for and waiting for.
My bad, y'all. I don't know what
okay.
I went to go in the kitchen and I forgot. Started looking at on TV. Anyway,
Hey, I get lost.
did y'all
in
talk
the
about
kitchen all the
anything?
time.
Yeah,
we
we
talked
talked about
about
quite a bit, but you
things.
can bring up stuff.
Why don't you bring up stuff you want to talk about? We talked a lot already, so go ahead. We'll talk about what you want to talk about.
Well, this really like Pacquiao kind of looked aged out, you know. Ugas definitely took over the fight at the end of the fight. You know, he definitely won the later rounds more so to really secure the victory. He won a rematch. He's supposed to be having a rematch. Thinking about a rematch in January. I don't know.
Well, we were talking about that. Let me ask you this, in your opinion, I stated this. Pacquiao for some time has talked about his legs, and he needs those legs to get away from punches. Obviously, he couldn't get away this time. But my thought is, and one of the things I've spoken to other people about this who are in the medical field, is that it's not just the fact that you're getting older and your reflexes aren't as sharp. When you're getting hit in the head, that affects your reflexes, especially to your legs, because there's a saying, first thing that go on a fighter are his legs. But he's been dealing with those issues after, I think he's had several concussions, not just the being knocked out cold, but from training and everything. I'm surprised he's not neurologically as bad off as someone who's been through so many wars and with bigger guys. So I think that leg problem is neurological.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one good thing, I guess, with he had such a long layoff in between fights, so he can't, like, as far as the concussion protocols and all of that, he'll probably be fully recovered from those issues. But yes, it's true. If he gets it during the fight, if he gets hit in the head, that could definitely immediately slow down your reflexes, not just, you know, over time. If you get hit during the fight and get buzzed, your reflexes might go as soon as you get buzzed one good time in the fight. Pacquiao's up there, so he's been, like, what, he had over 70 fights in his career.
Yeah, and he's been knocked cold 3 times and been with wars with, you know, Marquez and whatnot. Now, here's another question which we didn't talk about, what I want your guys' opinion. The Plant fight and Canelo fight is back on. Why do you think Canelo backed away from it after Plant agreed to everything?
Because of, I mean, per media reports, it was because Canelo wanted to still get paid the $40 million, even if Plant caught COVID, because a lot of fighters been catching COVID, been catching slight injuries or whatever. So even if, like, same thing with Pacquiao, how he was supposed to fight Errol Spence. Errol Spence got an injury. They didn't postpone the fight. He's done it due to make the same amount fighting Ugas. So, you know, that's what Canelo wanted. That Plant was saying, you know, did he agree to that?
Agree to what?
Because I thought that's what was the sticking point. You see how what Pacquiao just happened with Pacquiao, and he was scheduled to fight Spence, but then Spence caught the eye injury, and instead of postponing the fight, he went on and fought Ugas instead,
Well,
and he still
that
got the
that
same amount of money. Now,
ri-
what Plant was, I heard, this is what, maybe I read it wrong, but Plant was critical about him wanting that same type of deal. Like if something happened to Plant, like him catching a hand injury, because Plant got a history of, fragile hands and all of this. So if anything was to happen, catch COVID, whatever, he would get a replacement fighter and still get paid the same amount. But Plant wouldn't get a replacement fighter if something happened to Canelo and get paid the same amount.
uh-huh. Well, that's business, but that's one thing, okay? But another thing that came up that I heard was that they wanted to go right to drug testing right away. And possibly Canelo may have been on PEDs and needed to dry out before that happened, and he wanted the extra time. That was one of the speculations as well. So it seemed kind of suspect to me when everything was agreed to, he just decided, I'm not going to do it. And there was no logical reason for it because supposedly this was what he wanted to get these titles. So it didn't make sense.
Legacy and all of this, right? And then the talk that he might fight Bivol at a catch weight or something like that was being entertained briefly.
And the Wrecking Machine, what's his name?
He wasn't going to fight him. He wasn't going to fight him. But Beterbiev, he wasn't going to fight him.
Beterbiev, I forgot his name. But you see, that rings a bell because I remember, and you remember, we all remember when Gennady Golovkin was calling him a cheat. And he did it with vehemence. More so than we know some of these guys, they're doing it. I mean, PEDs have been around in boxing for a long time. Personally, I don't care if they use it. They should just make it legal for everyone if they need to use it because it helps them.
I'm agreeing with you on that, Tom. I cannot disagree more. I got to agree more. You can't agree more, rather.
Because then it levels the playing field, but also these guys can heal faster, so they don't fight injured as much. But the point is that it should be illegal if one guy is taking it and the other guy isn't, because that guy has a bigger punching power. He has more power, more strength. But the bottom line is that made me suspect, because the whole thing was, he ate Mexican meat. Come on.
And listen, this is also, there's kind of different PEDs for different purposes. Like some banned substances, I don't even want to call them PEDs, just banned substances are there because some guys need to cut weight quick. So they take stuff to help them cut weight that they're not supposed to take. Now, but that's not really going to increase your strength or anything like that.
But it'll reduce it. It'll reduce it.
There are the ones that do take things that kind of like, oxygenate, you know what I'm saying? Put more oxygen in their blood so that they can have more stamina. And obviously with more stamina throughout the fight, you have a little bit more strength or whatever. You have to work on things though. It's not miracle drugs. None of these things are miracle drugs. So like that, that's why I'm in agreement with you on they should just allow everything, because people got to heal faster. People have to work out and actually do the stuff to make the drugs effective. They can't just take a shot and think they're gonna go in the ring and then win. They still got to work out and train and do all this other stuff.
I know.
So
do you remember when Vargas fought De La Hoya and Vargas looked like he was Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got popped for it then. But I think they should just, if there are supplements that are outlawed, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. used to take furosemide before a fight to drop weight, and that's illegal. Right. But it does drain all the water out of you, and you gotta rehydrate in time. I don't know, man. All I know is I don't know why he decided to walk away, and now it's back on.
And it kind of makes him look bad, because it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of puts a dent in his Canelo could do whatever he wants status.
Well,
Because
he's always
on,
been treated as a prima donna,
because even when he fought Floyd, because of him thinking that, okay, well, if Plant don't want this 10 million, I could give somebody else that and we could get a fight made, which when the numbers was crunched, they was like, ain't nobody gonna want to see you fight Bivol. Like his name, he doesn't have name recognition. Not that Plant has a big name recognition, but let's be honest, he's American.
He's got the belt. He's got the belt, though. He's got the belt.
And he's American. He's American fighting in America. So, it'll be not as enticing to see two non-English speaking guys fighting in a big fight on a platform, on a DAZN platform at that, not even on a major network where you're going to get a lot of media coverage and all of this stuff. So,
right. And what do you think about this, Nathan? What do you think about this?
You said everything I was going to say anyway. So we can talk about something else. Yeah. Anything else, Ben?
Yo, Demetrius Andrade said to Jamal Charlo, Eddie Hearn, about the Jamal Charlo getting arrested to the police, whatever the case
I posted that. Yeah.
Andrade responded to that and was like, if you need some help, man, I could, you should have took that 7 million Eddie Hearn was offering you to fight.
Oh shit! You said that? Oh yeah. No, really? That's cool.
Yeah, he's like, I could let you hold my debit card if you need something.
Oh!
I was like, yo, that was funny.
That's good.
But
that's a good one.
I don't. Joe Smith Jr. is cracking on a fight with Daniel Jacobs next year. I thought Joe Smith and Beterbiev was going to be fighting in a unification, a 3-belt unification. That makes too much sense.
Yeah, why?
Especially with the Russia-U.S. tensions now. We could really sell that fight as the Cold War.
The new Cold War.
Right, the Cool War.
The Cool War. What do you think about this? That Lewis and Tyson are going to possibly fight in December?
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
I don't know what's worse. Me personally, I don't really care about the YouTube fighters fighting MMA guys and other YouTube guys, because sports has always had exhibition type of things amongst celebrities. They have celebrity golf tournaments. They have celebrity basketball games. They always have celebrity games, or celebrity events. So there's not no big deal on the, beating down on it. It's going to lose the luster of boxing, or it's going to make boxing a mockery.
A black guy for it. Give it a black guy.
I think these old guys fighting does more damage than the YouTube stars, in my opinion. Because they're not nearly. I mean, they probably around the same level because they're the same age, I guess. So they probably the same level, but I don't think Mike Tyson could beat Lennox Lewis now. I don't think Mike Tyson could ever beat Lennox Lewis, to tell you the truth.
Well, Lennox had the size and the skill to beat him.
And especially if Lennox with Emmanuel, with Manny in his corner, he really wasn't going to lose to Tyson.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to be fair to Mike, he was not training at that point. He had lost interest in boxing. He was broken at that point.
No, that's what I'm saying. If we had an ideal way of doing it, Mike Tyson, right around when he fought Michael Spinks versus Lennox Lewis, when he was beating Holyfield.
Or Tucker. You could look at Tucker. Look at the size of Tucker and how he handled them back then.
Do you guys
when he beat Tucker?
Tucker got in a couple of good hits versus Mike, though. And remember, at that time, Mike always had problems with with the decent taller fighters. Mitch Green was taller when they was coming up. He couldn't knock Mitch Green out. What's the other dude named? James Tillis, I think that was his name. He couldn't knock
James
him out.
Hard Rock.
Yeah,
What's his
and
name?
then,
Not James Tillis. I know who you. Bone Crusher.
but Mike Tyson fought James Quick Tillis, I think, and he didn't knock him out either when they was coming out.
Right.
And
Obviously, Bone Crusher and
What
Tony Tucker.
Nathan's trying to say something. What did you say,
You
Nathan?
guys want to hear something? Chris Lovejoy has had an altercation with Otto Wallin by saying, what did he write?
Chris
saying-
Lovejoy versus Dave Allen.
Yeah, no. Chris Lovejoy wants to fight Otto Wallin.
Yeah.
He basically said here, I'll knock out Otto Wallin or he'll be dreaming like everyone else, waiting for AJ fight. And then
Wallin ain't fighting Lovejoy.
No, but then Wallin says, "You're funny. I'll fight you when you don't quit a fight." And then it just got silly. And then Chris Lovejoy responded, "You're now officially on the hit list."
Yo, what y'all think about the WBA getting rid of the interim titles? Well, I know y'all think it's good.
I love it. I love it.
But I'm hoping they stick with it, because remember a few years back they were supposedly getting rid of the world title and having all of the consolation fights. You know, because truth be told, and this is how I'm in the small minority when it comes to the WBA. I recognize the world title as a world title. However, they don't follow the rules that it's supposed to be, because if they follow the rules that's they right, you know, they got that special committees nonsense that they can override the written rules, but the written rules state that the world champion is the world champion until he defends that title 5 or more times or unifies with another champion from another belt, right? That's what makes him a super champion. And the super champion, therefore, doesn't have a mandatory, because if you're the world champion and you defended the belt 5 times, you would assume that within those 5 times, you would have fought a mandatory at least twice. So you would, you being elevated to the super champion, you could bypass mandatories.
I'm getting nauseous. I'm getting nauseous.
But that's the reason why, because I think when it was originally set, when the guys was winning the multiple titles, the WBA tried to make it so that their champion with another belt didn't have as many mandatories, but they didn't want the other guys waiting around to not be able to fight for a title. So that's the initial reasoning, but they didn't follow. They quickly went away with that, moved away from that. And if they would have stuck with that, they wouldn't have so many super champions. They wouldn't have 2 champions in each division. They would, it would be selected. The super champion would only be somebody that was a world champion for a length of time or unified with one of the other champions, best fighting the best. Therefore, he could become the super champion. He can't just be the super champion because he fought for a vacant title and now he's a super champion. That don't even sound right, especially if there was a world champion established already.
See, to me, call me old school, call me old fashioned. You have the champion and you have contenders. And when a guy comes up to be, number 1 contender, he has to fight. He fights the champion. That's what kept it honest.
I got you. And for the traditionalists, I understand their point of view. And I'm gonna take it back to other sports, more so familiar with you, Tom, because it's American sports I'm talking about. Baseball used to only have the division champs. Whoever won the division went to the World Series. Then they got the conference, they split up the divisions the leagues into different divisions. Then they got wild cards. So, they expanded the chances for people to get titles. I understand people's plight, and I do think that they should have more tournaments so that they can, keep it circulating and get more fights and make these guys fight tougher fights and more entertaining fights. Because if you stick around and fight Ugas versus Pacquiao as the best fight in the world, that's an old guy versus a guy that a lot of people don't know of that lost a couple of fights already. So, that shouldn't be the title fight. You know what I mean? It should have been some 2 younger guys or something that, you know, Ennis versus Jamal Jones or something like that, more so because, well, Jones got a loss too, but you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's like on the way up, did their things and moving up the ranks, and now they got their title shot. Not somebody that's been around forever and fights every 2 years and he get a chance to fight for, you know, like that. It shouldn't be like that, but being that it is like that, that's why you get the belts the way they are and all of this.
I get it. I understand. Change of subject. I need to ask you guys an opinion here. We have Yard and this guy Theron tomorrow. We didn't talk about that over in England, right?
Yard, this guy's a bum.
Anthony Yard, right? Is this cruiserweight? This is cruiserweight, isn't it?
No, it's light heavyweight.
So what is this? Just him coming
wait
back?
A minute. How could it be light heavyweight? Yard weighs
a light heavyweight.
180. No, but they're fighting cruiserweight. They're fighting over 175.
Wow.
Oh, why? Because Yard weighed in at 180 or something?
No, the other guy.
Yeah. No. Yard was 180.25 and Theron is 179.5.
But he hasn't got it. So
they probably did a catch weight, you know, because it's obviously not a full cruiserweight. They barely above the light heavyweight limit.
Oh, it's light heavyweight. I've looked it up. It's light heavyweight. Not cruiserweight.
Well, it's not for a light heavyweight title though.
No,
no.
Light heavyweight contest.
No.
And
Joe Smith, why is he? Oh man.
Sulemov, the Russian guy.
Why is he fighting this guy, man?
It's just an easy defense.
You know, he's a mandatory. He's a mandatory. That
I thought the fight that he just fought was for a vacant title.
It was.
Meaning that was the mandatory guys fighting. So his next fight could have been a voluntary. I thought that was the rule.
This could be voluntary, but Sulemov is the sort of guy who will give him rounds. But Smith will win. Sulemov's best win was against the British cruiserweight guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but his guy that wasn't very good.
I can't recall right now. How does the guy
He's a former
fight?
IBO champion at cruiserweight.
How does he fight?
He's typical European style.
I don't know, man, because Joe Smith had, in my opinion, he ain't really win that title. But
he'll beat this guy. Sulemov is nothing special.
You know, like I think Joe Smith shouldn't even be the champ if I was a judge of the fight. But
that's your opinion. You're entitled to. You know, I disagree. I think that Joe Smith Jr., as soon as he fights someone with a bit of talent, he'll lose that belt. He's not going to keep that belt long, is he, Spencer?
So wait, you think his fight that he won the title with, that he clearly won that fight?
No, I think he barely won it. He couldn't even say it was a draw.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was a close fight.
That's why I said if I was judging, I probably would have gave it to the other guy. But yeah, I'm not. I could see how they gave it to Joe Smith.
Come on,
I personally wouldn't have gave it.
It's the same in Britain. If you've got a fighter like a Eubank or something, you're going to give him the decision over the foreign fighter, aren't you? You know, it was a hometown decision, you could say.
Yo, so speaking of that, with Eubank, now that they got rid of the interim titles, what are they going to do? They're going to make him fight.
They can give him a shot at Islandi Lara or a straight
Lara,
Murata, the super champion.
He's not. Murata is fighting Golovkin in December.
They are. I didn't know that.
That's why, listen, I don't know. They got some balls on them. Yeah. The zone want Golovkin to fight somebody, right? And they didn't want him to wait until December. They wanted him to fight Andrade because they wanted Andrade to fight somebody, right? You know, They got a title fight, a unification. He could have fought like in the fall, late summer, and then still fought Murata if he won in December. But he bypassed all those decisions. I have to be honest,
out of all the champions at that WBA, Murata's terrible compared to Lara, I believe. He's not that good. I never rated that other guy, the Japanese guy.
Yeah. How y'all like that Rigondeaux fight?
Oh God.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
Rigondeaux was running. The guy was trying to get to him, but it was just a mess.
Yeah.
You know.
Rigondeaux is too old, man. He
Don't-
gotta throw more punches and stuff like that.
You
He's
remember when-
definitely defensively minded. Like he's, you can't really. He's hard to hit unless you're Lomachenko, but he's hard to hit.
What do you guys think about Keith Galahad beating that bum, that Dickinson guy?
Well,
So
who? Dave Allen?
No, Keith Galahad.
no. You talking about Jaza Dickens versus Kid Galahad
Yeah,
for the
terrible
IBF
fight,
featherweight.
terrible fight.
I didn't see that.
I think
Yeah,
Elvis was more exciting in Keith Galahad than what Keith Galahad's been in his whole career, to be honest.
But they not. You would think that they would unify with Lee Wood, but
They won't happen.
Lee Wood got to fight Homeboy,
Yeah.
and they looking to have. He got to fight Conlon.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that.
And also, what was the other thing I wanted to bring in?
How that's going to work out? Because Conlon with Top Rank, and ain't Lee Wood with the Zone and
Yeah, he's with Eddie Hearn, yeah.
How that's going to work
Why?
out? They're going to have to go to purse bid because
Yeah, well,
Conlon is a Bob Arum favorite.
yeah, he's a good fighter as well.
He ain't
Yeah.
all that good. But
He had him in Madison Square Garden, didn't he? For St. Patrick's Day?
for a couple of them, he was. If the pandemic ain't hit, he would have been in 2 more because he was scheduled to fight for 5 straight years in Madison Square Garden during St. Patrick's Day.
So what did you think of his last fight? I thought that he was getting hit a little too much. But I think he could beat this guy he's going to fight.
Who?
But
Lee
against
Wood?
Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Right.
I
He
think
ain't gonna beat
against Santa Cruz. I think, yeah, Santa Cruz has got a lot more finesse, a lot more boxing chops.
Yeah.
I
I don't
believe.
even know if Bob would let him fight because Bob was talking about moving him down to super bantamweight at one point.
Right. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll
So
see how this plays out.
Because remember when they were ranked 1 and 2, I think, Conlon and Shakur at featherweight for the WBO title when Valdez moved up, and Aaron was like, I don't want I'm not matching Conlon with Shakur. So that right there let me know. That right there let me know that he was protecting Conlon for the
What do you guys
And then,
think?
he got it's just crazy. He got Shakur fighting his homeboy instead of having him fight the Olympian that, they shared they went to the same Olympics, right? Didn't they, Conlon and
Right.
Shakur?
What do you guys think about Josh Warrington having that rematch with the Mexican guy?
He might win. He might
Well,
win.
he could win. He could win if
There's bad news.
if
You know
he's.
that Mexican guy who knocked out James Tennyson, he's also on the card as well.
What happens though if he does win?
Nothing really. Then he should move up one.
And because Josh Warrington would have to knock this dude out early.
He has to redeem himself.
Yeah, and he got to do it by knocking him out early.
I think
If he goes the distance with this guy,
he'll lose.
and the guy wins a couple rounds and stuff, even if Josh Warrington loses,
He's got to
Josh
make it look
Warrington-
like it was a fluke, that
Right.
it was a fluke, in order to salvage his career.
It was
Right,
no
but-
fluke, though. That's the whole point. This Lara guy's 23 years old. He could become a star. That's the whole point. They're better than what they're advertising. He's better than that.
Well, you can never really underestimate anybody in this business, ever, ever.
I guess if Warrington wins, he could fight the winner of Wood Conlon. that might be something good domestically over there.
Possibly, yeah, that could be. But he's also like we said earlier. I mean, Bob is trying to make him a star here too. So I don't know. Let's see what pans out.
Bob might not want to risk bidding against Eddie Hearn because he's lost a couple of purse bids against Eddie Hearn in case the Conlon Wood fight has to go to bid. So he might just pull him out and not have him fight for the title.
Yeah. What do you think about Ali, the new Ali guy?
Well,
who?
Nico Ali Walsh.
Muhammad Ali's grandson who fought.
Damn, I'm trying to remember the fight, yo, because I know I've seen
he stopped the guy in the first round. The guy didn't put up any resistance.
Right. He got a big ass head too. I'm just want to say that. His shit gonna be easy to hit, yo.
Did you know what shorts he was wearing in the fight? He was wearing Ali's actual shorts that he wore in one of his earlier fights.
Well, I was saying, nostalgically, it's great. I mean, this kid, he's got a long way to go. There's really no way to tell at this point what's going to happen. His hands were free. He was throwing some combinations, but he fought a guy who didn't offer any resistance.
Maybe he could beat up on Sugar Shane's son. Splendor Mosley. No. Splendor Shane.
You guys are so bad. I love it.
When I watched Nick Ali Walsh, all I could think of was Ali. I changed my head in the way I was thinking. I actually put a picture of Ali in front of me when he was fighting. Do you know what I mean? To hypnotize myself. To get behind him.
Well, you have a special skill, my friend. I can't do that, but I understand why you did that and the feelings attached to Muhammad. Muhammad was a very special person.
Boxing sons and juniors and stuff like that, they very rarely fare better than the parents. Floyd is an exception.
Definitely. Roy Jones is an
exception. But for the most part, if the parent was good, the kid isn't going to be that great. Like, Floyd and Roger, they was decent fighters.
World-class fighters that won world titles. That was the difference, apart from Floyd Sr.
So, and then they had their issues. They had their little...
Ooh, did they ever have issues?
Roger and Floyd had Floyd Sr. had their little issues, so he wasn't living in a life where he was paved with gold growing up. So.
No way. His father was in prison. His mother was a prostitute, kind of like Tyson.
And he was called Sinclair for a minute. Remember, like when early on, wasn't it? He wasn't even called Mayweather when he was first born. I thought
he wasn't.
Yeah.
But what I think will happen with Ali Walsh is they'll build him up where he gets like 15, 16 wins. Then as soon as he fights someone with a bit of talent, he'll lose and then we'll forget all about it. That's what I think is going to happen. Or unless he gets a belt, somehow manages to get some easy belt.
Or he somehow get the damn reincarnation of his grandfather put in him.
That would help. That would help.
Yeah, those genes get activated,
His Muhammad Ali powers start to activate. Word.
When he's moving around the ring wearing those shorts, you could see the footwork. You could see there were similarities in some little way. I'm not saying in a big way, but a small way. You could see there's something there,
Well, let's talk about Layla, because Layla was very good, She earned that on her own. Her father didn't want her to fight. Her father was against her fighting. She's beautiful and she's bad.
I love her.
She never fought Ann Wolf, though, right? Were they in a different class?
No, but Ann Wolf wanted to fight her. Yeah.
Ann was bad too. Ann was bad.
Ann was bad. Ann was bad. Like it's bad because I don't know. Like there was fighters back then. Ann Wolf was a good fighter. She could compete nowadays with some of the fighters, you know, the chick fighters nowadays. But a lot of fighters back then, they shouldn't be considered title fights.
Yeah, I mean, there was a shortage of women boxers, and
Look,
they
the
had.
truth is, these women came along 20 years too early. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, Layla got her money, so she, you know, she got more money than what the chicks is getting nowadays.
But it's only because of the name, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, so if she would have came around now, who knows? Ali's grandson ain't, you know, we'll see how his career goes. If
You know,
that name,
he's got a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you're in the shadow of a famous father, it's true. I mean, what you guys are saying, it's a very difficult hill to climb because people are expecting to see you be as good or better. And if you fall short, they're not very happy with you.
It's like
most times the situations aren't even the same. Most of the times the parent struggled. They went through hardships and stuff. That's what made them help to make them a great fighter. The kids lived in a lap of luxury because their fathers was making money.
Rich.
So they was growing up with, you know, as a celebrity's kid. So, you know, it's a
like
different.
Ricky Hatton, he shouldn't be anywhere near him. That kid is terrible. He will never
What's
make
it called?
Campbell
What's it called? Yeah, because you would figure Hatton got a little bit of money.
He's terrible.
You know, he fought Pacquiao and Mayweather. So,
but I mean, Ricky Hatton was good, but I don't see the same thing. When I look at him, he's a guy that's been given this golden head start fighting on pay-per-view, a place he should nowhere be. He shouldn't even be anywhere near there.
I mean, you look. You know, we talked about Marvis Frazier. I mean, Marvis was a good boxer, but he had no business with those guys in the ring. They ate him alive.
Hell yeah. What's it called? Mike Tyson beat his ass in 16 seconds or so crazy.
Oh, and he beat him bad.
Yo,
and Larry Holmes beat him. Larry Holmes beat him too.
Yeah, like he shouldn't have even been fighting them guys. Well, at the time he fought Mike Tyson was still on, you know, a prospect.
Right.
You know, I don't
but
even know
we
if
all
he was
we all knew.
Yeah,
I watched that fight when it happened. I knew he was going to hurt him, and he hurt him.
I didn't watch it live because I distinctly remember this. Yo, I went to the bathroom because it was on Wild World of Sports.
Right.
I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom to go to the bathroom to take a leak. And when I came back, the fight was over. I was like, oh, shit.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's how fast it happened.
I was like, oh, shit, the fight was over. And I had to see the fight.
I think the biggest shock I've ever had one time, right, before we go, I was when Danny Williams fought Mike Tyson. I thought Danny Williams was a bum. This guy's going to get killed. Because obviously I'd seen Tyson, I'd followed Williams' career. But the moral story is everybody at the pub at my friend's house, we were all stoned, we were all pissed. They all fell asleep. So I woke up, and when I woke up, I saw that Danny Williams had knocked Mike Tyson out. So I missed the whole fight. But I woke up for the knockout, just as the knockout happened. And I was like, what? It's over. I paid 10 quid for this. And it's over already. Everyone was well pissed.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Well, if you would have watched Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson, you would have got your money's worth.
Oh yeah, that was a classic.
Or Buster Douglas against Holyfield, which was the most pointless fight in heavyweight history.
Oh, I wanted to mention, because you didn't hear this, that Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson are probably going to fight in December. But Mike said today on a podcast he wants to fight Anthony Joshua.
Mike Tyson is crazy.
I know he's crazy.
Just about run out of time, guys.
But good weed too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
really
man.
good weed.
Let's see Dave Allen versus Christopher